Good afternoon, Facebook Live. This is Tanya Dotson-Winckler coming at you from 180-degree time management, the gift of time. If you are calling in or plugging in from the United States, good morning. It's 9 a.m. for you. If you are joining us from Europe, good afternoon. It's 3 p.m. for you. And we are live here. And today's topic is, how do you save 5 hours per day? So as you know, if you're following me, and if you haven't followed me, what you need to know is that I am a time management and strategist, a productivity strategist. Hey, Helen, good to see you. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to join before I go completely on with what I have to say today. But I am a time management and productivity strategist. I have created a program that has saved more than 50 professionals 5 hours per day. Now, I'm here today to talk about the how, because everybody talks about the what. Every time management expert talks about what you should do instead of how you should do it. Now, I'm turning off all of my notifications. I would invite you to do the same so that we don't get interrupted by beeps and pop-ups and all kinds of manner of things that can interrupt us when we are doing our work. So again, going back to what I was starting to talk about, I want to talk about the how of time management. That's also where we work at 180-degree time management. We work with how to save 5 hours per day instead of the what to do. So let's just talk about that a little bit. How many of you know what to do to save yourself some time? Okay, and you can write in the chat what there is for you to do. And I'll give you a couple of examples that everybody, all the time management experts talk about. The what to do. Figure out when your most energetic time of the day is. How many of you know that one? That you should do the hardest work at the times when you have the most energy, right? You could just you could just like or make a comment if you agree or if you disagree. I'd love to have a debate about this. This is really, really interesting stuff. So that's one of the things that all of the time management experts tell you to do, to find out when is your high energy part of the day and do the hardest work there, okay? So that's one thing. There are, yes, and for Helen, it is 5 a.m. Great. So every day that Helen can manage to get up at 5 a.m. and get herself started is a great day for her, because that's what she should do. So let's look at some more. I have people joining now, so I'm getting a little distracted, but let me get myself back on topic here. What else do the time management experts tell you to do? Well, one of the things that they tell you to do is schedule everything. Just schedule your entire day down to your 30-minute lunch break or your 20-minute walk in the park. They talk about scheduling your private time as much as your work time. So how many of you here do that and have been told that that's what there is for you to do? Schedule everything. I'm just going to wait for a couple of people to respond here. I've got a couple of people on. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. So again, let's talk about it, okay? And argue with me. I'm up for arguing. I'm up for debate, because I think this is really, really important that we distinguish between what there is for you to do and how there is for you to do it. And Helen just responded, no, she can't be that confined. She needs flexibility. Exactly. But the time management experts and productivity experts out there tell you that if you don't schedule everything, then you're going to be behind during your day. I don't agree with that. 180-degree time management doesn't agree with that. But we're going to get into that a little bit later in this broadcast, okay? So what else have you heard is the what to do? And I think you can see it actually in the post that I did about this Facebook Live. So I'm going to switch over for a second and take a look at, oh yes, distinguish between things that are urgent and things that are important. Now that's a big deal as far as time management is concerned. Every time management expert talks about that. They talk about distinguishing between what's important and what's urgent. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with pretty much most of these tips, but there's a problem here. And that's what I'm going to get into a little bit later. The tips tell you what to do. They just don't tell you how to do it. They don't tell you how to maintain it. And we're going to get into that a bit later, because my program at 180 Degree Time Management tells you how, okay? So again, how many of you have heard that? That you should be able during your day to consistently distinguish between what's urgent and what's important. Yeah? Hi, Claire. Good to see you. Helen. I'm sorry. Holly. Nice to see you as well. Daniel. Con Magleda from Denmark. Laquetta just joined. It's great to see you guys. We've been talking for a few minutes about the difference between the what to do versus the how to do it. Thanks, Claire. So I talk about the how. How do you save 5 hours a day? And Helen is replying again. She heard that her paper organizer makes the distinction between what's urgent and what's important. That's what we're discussing right now. All of the things that they tell you, the time management experts and productivity experts tell you what to do. However, if I can take another example, how many of you out there have ever tried to lose weight? And you know what to do, okay? Eat less, move more, and manage your nutritional intake. How many of you know what to do? Yep, everyone's responding now. Yeah, you know what to do. Let me ask you something. How much of a difference has that made in your weight loss progress, right? Is it just knowing what to do that makes the difference? Or is knowing how to do that makes the difference? And people are giving me thumbs up and they're responding here in the chat. So let's move a little bit more along. So we've got a couple of things that we've just talked about, you know, that you've been told what to do. Setting priorities, distinguish between urgent and important. Make sure to nail the important things. And the first thing I started talking about when we first got on a few minutes ago was to learn how your energy flows and work accordingly, okay? Here's the big one for adults that I find is even more difficult. Helen is saying it wasn't until she figured out why she was doing what she was doing that it began to work. Exactly, exactly. So you've got to get behind the what. You've got to either get to the how, which is what I want to talk about today, and what Laquetta is saying as well, knowing how to do it. The what to do is just a guideline. It's just something that you can kind of refer to, but it's not going to be the plan that gets you to your goals, okay? How many of you have an abundance of what I like to call shelf help, you know, which are these self-help books that you have been gathering for years. You've read what all the experts say. You have, you know, put into you put into practice what they tell you you should be doing, the what to do, but they don't tell you how. Again, they don't tell you how to deal with things like running out of energy. Like if you're having one of those days and you've scheduled yourself to, as Helen was talking about, you've scheduled yourself to be up at 5, to hit the ground running, and to do those tasks that you know need to be done while you have your high energy, but it's 5 a.m., you got to bed a little late. It's 5 a.m., you slept poorly. It's 5 a.m., and for whatever reason, you are not able to pop out of bed as per your schedule and get done what you need to get done in your high energy time, but it still needs to get done. What do you do then? Okay, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the how. How do you deal with the what to do? So it's how do you do the what to do? And that's a completely different conversation. And that's where I focus in our 180 degree time management strategy assessment calls, in our breakthrough calls, in our webinars, in our VIP days. We always talk about how do you do this? Let's take another look. I got a couple more people joining. It's great. Thank you so much for being here. There's a couple more things that they tell you what to do. Manage your downtime, learn to delegate. The big one for adults, ask for help, right? We know we're supposed to be doing all of this, right? We know what to do. It's in all the books that are on our shelves, our shelf help that we've been collecting for years. It's just not sustainable, okay? LaQuetta says she starts with a glass of water. Good idea. That's a good start. But then how do you sustain it throughout the day? Because there's this thing that happens during the day that I like to call life, okay? That comes in and that will disrupt your best laid schedule and your best laid plans. And if you don't have something that is going to sustain you in the how to do it, when life interrupts your schedule and life interrupts your best laid plans, then guess what's going to continue to happen? You're going to continue to be behind schedule. You're going to continue to have items that don't get done. You're going to continue to have a to-do list that just keeps growing, okay? So what I am here for and what my passion is in time management and productivity is to give you something that never, ever goes away, that shows you how to manage your time and your productivity when you don't feel like it, when you've slept badly and can't get up in the morning for that high power hour that you have, as Helen was referring to a little earlier in the broadcast, when life gets in the way and messes up all of your best laid, scheduling and plans. There's a couple more things that happen, like what do you do when you get overwhelmed by the daily tasks? What do you do when you lose track of what's important versus what's urgent, which happens to us all the time? What do you do when your help, for example, if you have a VA or if you have a personal assistant or if you have someone that's helping you get your stuff done, what happens when they get called away because life interrupts their plans right when you need them the most? What do you do when the newest system that you've purchased is not a fit for you? What do you do when your shelf help library gets bigger and bigger and bigger and your time gets shorter and shorter and shorter, okay? So this is what I say you do. You learn how to make yourself the system, okay? You stop trying to take another system written by an author that may not have your same background, that may not have the same criteria that you're working with, and they tell you, just be like Mike, right? Just be like me. Do what I do, and you'll have all the time in the world. I'm not telling you that, because your life and my life looks completely different. We might have some similarities, but what if, I'm not a parent, for example, right? So you've got 3 to 5 kids. How am I going to tell you to follow my system when I am a married person with no children and no grandchildren at this point, okay? Got kids, but that's a whole nother thing, because you can send them home at the end of the day. So what do you do so I'm not going to tell you to use my system. What I am going to tell you is that I have a system that makes you your system. It is a perfectly personalized, individualized system, because what we do is what I've talked about in previous Facebook Lives, is that we get underneath your thought patterns, okay? And we create a system for you based on your personalized thought patterns. What is it that you think about time? What is it you think about yourself? What is it that you think about the items in your schedule? What is it that you think about urgent versus important? What do you think about time management? What do you think about productivity? Where does it go off the rails for you? Where do you find yourself stopped in your daily time management, your weekly time management, your productivity? Where is it that you find yourself wishing, if I only had 5 more hours in my day, if I only had managed to get what I needed to get done this morning, then my afternoon would be looking completely different. Or the other way around. If I had only managed to get done yesterday afternoon before, this morning, my day would have looked completely different. So here's the thing. The how to save yourself 5 hours a day is to stop using anybody else's system and have yourself be the system, okay? Now, there's a lot more I can say about that. I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions that you have about making yourself the system, and I will answer that so that we can get a dialogue started here about what it is I am offering, because I don't just get on here and talk about absolutely nothing about time management. I've been doing this for 8 years. There are over 50 to 100 people, I haven't counted lately, that have taken the course that I offer and have given themselves 5 more hours per day. Now, what they're doing with that 5 more hours per day is amazing. And that's what I want to make available to professionals that are serious about giving themselves 5 more hours a day to live the lives that they work so hard for, okay? So if it's all work and no play, we want to give you some hours back to, thanks, look what he has, a great idea, right? If it's all work and no play, we want to give you some hours to play with. If it's, I can't get my work done in the amount of hours that I'm given, if you're working for someone, if you're working for a corporation, or if you're working for yourself, if you're a small business owner, if you can't get what you need to get done in the amount of time that is allotted to you per day, we want to give you those 5 hours. So you get to use these 5 hours, these extra 5 hours a day, wherever you want to use it. You want to use it on your business to get yourself ahead. Do you want to use it with your personal life to start enjoying what you're working so hard for? Give yourself an opportunity to travel. Give yourself an opportunity to have some free time. Give yourself an opportunity to take up those hobbies you used to have, and now you've had to give them up because you're just, I just don't have enough time. I just can't fit that in. I don't know how to do that, right? So this is how you save 5 hours per day, by making yourself the system and by allowing yourself to not continue to try and force a square peg in a round hole by using all of that shelf help that you have gathered over the years that is now sitting on your shelf, okay? And I just want to ask a couple of questions while we still got people here. How many systems have you already tried on average? If you guys would please just answer that question in the chat. How many time management systems, approximately, on average, how many time management systems, apps, calendars, whatever you use to manage your time, how many of those have you used, let's say, within the last year to 2 years that are now sitting on your shelf? Just going to give people an opportunity to answer that question. How many systems? How many more systems do you want to have to use before you get 5 hours a day? How much more time do you want to waste feeling like you're not having the time of your life? Okay? Hi, Gail. Oh my goodness, Gail Curtis just joined us. This is a former boss of mine, my former manager. That is lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. Gail, we were talking about time management, okay, and productivity. We're talking about time management systems that you have used over the last year to 2 years. How many of those systems have you used? How many of them are now sitting on your shelf collecting dust and adding to your shelf help? I'm making a play on words, self-help, shelf help. How many of those? And I know that when Gail and I were working together, back in the 80s, it was, time was important. We had some work that we had to get out, and it was very important work, and we were very passionate about the work that we did. So we didn't have a lot of time to waste. So I'm not getting people a little shy here. It's okay if you make a comment. I'd love to interact with you. And I would love to hear what you have to say about your time management systems, okay? Ah, Helen just said she just avoided buying another system yesterday. Awesome. She's LOL. Thanks for that. LaQuetta, she's retired. All her systems are hers, but she's tried 3 systems in her lifetime. Thanks, LaQuetta, for answering that question. Gail Curtis, whoa, this is surreal. Yes, it is, isn't it? You know, back in the 80s, we didn't have this technology. So it's really interesting for me to see you pop up, and then you're sitting there watching me, you know, talk about time management. So anyway, back to the subject. How do you save 5 hours per day? And I say in my programs, which have been running now for the last 8 years, and that professionals and executives and CEOs have been using, say that, you know, it's about how instead of what you do. Helen has just kicked in. I have a system that, I like the system that she has, but she just keeps getting sucked into buying new organizers. There you go. Very good. Very good. Now, Helen, if your system was no longer outside of you, but if you were the system, if you could actually relate to your own thought patterns, okay? If you could actually relate to what you think about time, if that was the system, if you could, you know, model that, if you could package that, which I have done, which is why I'm doing this Facebook Live, because I have packaged it. If that system was you, and you didn't really have to think about it so much, and if you did have to think about it, you could pull down one of the documents that I give you to fill out that's full of your own thoughts, okay, about time, about all of these things that we were talking about, so that, you know, if, for example, your help that you're using, you know, if it's your VA or your PA, has to, you know, suddenly abandon you in the middle of the most important bit of work that you're doing, what do? Now, your thoughts will go crazy at that point. Guaranteed. Your thoughts are going to be like, oh my God, this is not going to work. How could you leave me at this most important time? Yes, I know that you have a personal life too, but I pay you, on and on and on and on. Now, do you think that those types of thoughts are going to help you to move forward with the rest of your day? Or are they going to stop you cold? Or at minimum, are they going to slow you down, right? You've got something that you need to get produced. The person that's going to help you produce it gets called away, and you're staring down, you know, the barrel of the gun going, uh-oh. Do you think that a set of empowering thoughts that are yours, that you created, that you developed, that you have attached to some physiology, that, you know, you've written it down several times, you have it as a visual display, which is one of the things that I recommend that people do once we start working together, that if you could actually use your own thought processes on you at the times when you need more time, or when things don't go the way that, you know, you were hoping they were going to go, or for example, if you get overwhelmed by daily tasks, or if you lose track of what's important versus what's urgent, do you think that if you had your own personalized system, that would make a difference? So this is what I'm inviting you to contact me about, okay? I have a system that I've been using, that we've been using, that my clients have been using for over 8 years. It's consistent. Helen goes, absolutely. Thanks, Helen. So yeah, this is what I'm offering. The program that I offer, it's individualized, it's personalized, it's consistent. Clients who took the program 6 years ago are now coming back and reporting to me that the tools get sharper with use. Now, when's the last time you heard that? Okay, I know that I was so pleased and so honored to get that kind of feedback. And these are people that decide to come back to do a different type of program with me. So let me let you know what's available. There's 3 different type of programs that I run. One is what we call a 180-degree VIP day, where you get to spend the day with me. That's approximately 6 to 7 hours of material that we cover during that day. And you come in with what kind of time management issues you're dealing with and what kind of an outcome you want to have. The second is a webinar series. We ran one in the spring. We're getting ready to run the next one for the fall. That's an 8-week series where you're online live with me for an hour per week, where we go through a series of different topics. What is your time management thought process? What are the thoughts that you can use to empower yourself in time management? What are the thoughts that stop you? Distractions, procrastination, waiting to the last minute, how to get rid of your to-do list forever, and on, right? So we do 8 sessions of those topics together. And then in between sessions, we do what I call a Q&A, where you get to jump on with me and I'm just available to answer questions between sessions, because of course, between sessions, you have homework, okay? So that's the second type of program that I'm running. The first program is one-to-one, the VIP day. The second program is the webinar. Same material, it's just if you prefer to do an hour a week with time in between, that's what you get to do. And the third program is a year-long mastermind program that we've been running for the past 3 months, right? We've got some people on there. Now, here's the thing. The first thing you want to do to sort of get an idea of how we work is to get into the group that we have here on Facebook, and it's called Productivity Breakthrough. And I will write, at the end of this, I will write the link in the chat so that you can look at that and that you can apply to join the group. Gail Curtis is saying that since she's retired, she's been having major issues with this. She falls into doing what she wants rather when she wants. Got it. Choosing the easiest tasks to do first, which of course doesn't work. And then when she wants to check herself to pull the pieces of system, she wants to do the easiest task first. Then when she wants to check herself, she pulls pieces of the systems that she used together in her life. And her last statement here is ugh. And I totally get it, because it's random. There's no consistency to it. Totally get that. So hi Regina, good to see you. Glad that you're here. So guys, for everyone that has been here, thank you so much for being a part of this. I am doing these a lot more. I love getting onto Facebook and talking with you about time management and about productivity and about how to actually save yourself time, 5 hours a day, while increasing your productivity. So again, no one out there is doing what I do. I've checked, believe me, I've checked. What's going on is people are continuously banging on, experts are banging on about what to do, and we're human beings. So the what to do is never going to be consistent until you learn how to do it. And as one of, I think it was LaQuetta mentioned earlier in this Facebook Live, is the how, which is connected to the why. Why would I work that way? And that makes total sense. So any last questions before I end this Facebook Live today? It has been my pleasure and my honor to be with you today. I really appreciate everybody joining, all of your comments. Again, at the end of this Facebook Live, I'm going to post a link to the group that I'm running, which is called Productivity Breakthrough. If you apply to join that group, there's going to be some qualifying questions. Please answer the questions so that I can really give you an opportunity to join us. I don't accept anyone into the group that hasn't answered the questions, because what we're doing in this group is we are addressing how do you save 5 hours per day. And there, you know, we don't have anybody lagging in the background or lurking. We're not doing that, you know. So if you would like to join our group, I will post it at the end. If you want to have a breakthrough call with me, that's also available, and I will post my booking calendar with you. Gail, thanks, you're welcome, and she's going to look me up. I look forward to speaking with you, Gail. Anybody who wants to, you know, have a conversation with me, I do free 45-minute breakthrough calls. Now, please understand, these are not discovery calls. These are breakthrough calls. If you want to have a breakthrough in time management and productivity, give me a call. If you want to kick some tires, don't give me a call, okay? If you're serious about getting a hold of your time and gaining 5 hours a day, please answer the qualifying questions when you book a call with me, and I will love to get on and have a conversation with you and have a free breakthrough session with you to find you those 5 hours a day to do with what you want to have the life that you'd love to have, okay? We're talking about dream lives here, people. We're not talking about survival anymore. We're talking about thriving in life. 5 more hours to thrive, okay? Thank you so much for being here. This has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed myself, and I will see you again. Let's see, today is Friday. I'll see you again on Sunday, where we're going to have our next Facebook Live talking about how to save 5 hours per day and more about time management. Tell your friends, apply to the group, give me a call, okay? Take care, everyone. Have a great Friday and a lovely weekend, and hopefully I'll see you again on Sunday. Bye-bye.